What's going on, everyone? So, obviously, Scream 5 isn't opposed to bringing back characters from the previous films. You have Sidney, Gale, and Dewey, the OG3. You have Judy Hicks, who was in Scream 4. You have Martha Meeks, who was in Scream 3. And although a sort of cameo, hopefully Scream 5 will get some more insight and backstory into her character. I would assume she's going to be sort of a main fix, maybe a little bit of a staple, given that even her kids are in this film. So it'll be nice to kind of see her character development in the upcoming film. That being said, I wanted to discuss the possibility of a character making a cameo or appearance in Scream 5, and one that a lot of you, and myself included, agree died way too soon, and that is Randy Meeks. But before we jump into it, be sure to like this video. It helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And let's talk about Randy Meeks and what I mean. Now, before you go rush to the comments saying Randy's dead, Randy's dead. I know, I've seen the previous Scream films. I understand he died brutally in Scream 2, and myself, as many of you, based on the other videos I've done on Randy, feel like he died too soon. If you want to check those videos out after this one, I'll link them down in the description. But I don't mean him returning as like a resurrection or like a zombie or something. Obviously, that'd be silly. That's not what Scream is. Martha Meeks, his sister, will be in Scream 5. So we'll probably get some mementos with, maybe a photo album, some photos on the wall. I would assume Martha's going to have some sort of role, because why bring her back? Why instill her kids into the film just to kill her off early? So I would assume there's going to be some dynamic to her character, some development. We might get to see her home, and most likely we'll see some photoshopped images of Martha when she was younger with Randy. Obviously, Scream 3, Martha was 16, 17. She said so herself in that film. So I would assume Scream 2, when Randy died, she's probably 14, 15, roughly, maybe a little younger, maybe 12. So we might get to see some images of her as a child and Randy, her big brother. That would be awesome. Obviously, flashbacks are said to be in this film. A lot of it is supposed to be a homage to the previous films. So I would assume that Randy, being a main fixed character in all of the Scream franchise, or at least the first two films, will be in that montage to some degree, and maybe some references, things like that. But what we got in Scream 3 was sort of, the video, obviously. Martha came and showed this video of Randy. What if there are others? Like, who's to say he didn't make more of those videos? Or that he didn't leave something behind, and years later, Martha's going to show Sidney. Remember, Martha was in Woodsboro. Sidney was not. Sidney, the last time she returned to Woodsboro, was in Scream 4 for her book tour. So who's to say she stuck around long enough to see Martha, or that Martha was even around Woodsboro at that time? Maybe she left when she got older. There is a gap between Scream 4 and now that is going to take place. So we know that there will be, a 10-year gap between Scream 4, Scream 5, and that will actually play a part in the film. So it's very likely that Martha and Sidney were in two separate parts of the world at the time that even Scream 4 developed. That maybe that's why she wasn't in Scream 4, and they decided to bring her back for Scream 5. So I would assume that Martha would have all kinds of stuff from Randy. I mean, it was her brother. It was somebody she loved and cherished. It was somebody that she cared enough about Sidney and the gang to actually go to Hollywood and give them this DVD, or VHS, I'm sorry, time periods, but this VHS to show them so that way they could sort of, help have information in taking down this third installment of Ghostface. So who's to say that Randy wouldn't have other videos and images? And even technology now, they could have had Jamie Kennedy actually be record something or whatever, and then just use age software to plug him in or make him his age, whatever. I mean, they have the technology now. They've used it and implemented it in several films, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that we might get to see another video or something to that degree. Maybe there was some file on a computer and Martha was able to save it, and will show Sydney that sort of like, here you go, like, this is what my brother has. Because they obviously plugged Randy in because the outrage in his death. Scream 2, when he died, a lot of people may or may not know this, but there was a lot of outrage that they killed him off. That's one of the main reasons why he was a plug in Scream 3, because they kind of were like, okay, here you go, here's your goodbye in a lot of ways. Well, what if, him being a main stake in the franchise, they sort of implement him? Scream 5 is clearly, those producers are clearly not opposed to taking characters from the previous films and implementing them. I mean, Randy's sister, again, is going to be in this film. So I would assume that Randy is going to be at least mentioned several times throughout this film. There's going to be that connection, especially if Martha and Sydney actually have scenes together and they, sit down or whatever. That's their connection, because they don't really know each other. Martha was a child when Sydney left, so they don't have any real connection or ties other than Randy. So I would assume that they would sit down and sort of reminisce over Randy, because that's their connection. So if Randy made a in case of emergency third time killer, who's to say that he didn't do that for a fourth or fifth or whatever? I mean, granted, you don't want to make it too repetitive. You don't want to get carried away. But it is very possible that, he made a sort of generic, like, look, at the end, like, if you survive this third ghost face, this is what you need to know for any ghost face from here on out, type of thing. Where it's just like a generic, like, all bets are off type thing. And it'd be really cool to kind of get that homage. It'd be very, very nostalgic for a lot of us to see Randy in that video capacity discussing, how Sydney can operate and navigate through these new killings, and also add another connection to Sydney. I would assume, whether it's a video or not, there probably will be something that shows Randy. Again, pictures in the house, photo album, something, maybe it's just Sydney and Martha sitting down and going, here, like, look at my pictures of, my brother when he was a kid, type thing. I think that is a real possibility. But I don't know, maybe it's just me kind of hoping to see a character that I enjoyed. I always was a huge fan of Randy. I understand his death. Again, I wish he would have at least lived to the third film and, kill him off in the third film. At least let him live through the trilogy. I mean, you already plugged him in Scream 3, so you might as well just keep him in, period. But that's neither here nor there. Again, maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm just somebody that wants a nostalgic character that I enjoyed to be in this film. But I think it'd be something cool. I think it'd be a nice little Easter egg. The producers have said as much about the Easter egg. There was an interview. It wasn't anything major. It was posted on Hello Sydney. If you want me to cover that interview, I'm more than happy. Again, it wasn't anything too crazy, so I haven't made a video about it yet. But if you'd like to see that video, let me know down in the comments. I'm more than happy to cover what was said about the film. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I want to hear from you. So let me know down in the comments below. Would you like to see something like this? Do you think Randy will be in this film in some capacity? Like I said, photos on the wall, photo album, whatever. Do you think he'll be mentioned, or do you think they'll just kind of like, hey, like, let's, brush this over and just focus on these characters? I'd love to know from you. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. And like this video. Again, it helps with the algorithm, it helps with everything, and it lets me know that you enjoy these types of random discussion videos. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.